In today's video, we have some news from the NHL Waiver Wire. Several players were placed on waivers today. Plus, we have some very key injury updates for a few NHL teams. And we have a quick update on the HoSang situation waiting for a trade with the New York Islanders. We'll jump into all the latest news coming up next. So welcome back here to Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have a variety of NHL news topics to cover here today, and I want to get started with the NHL Waiver Wire. We have a variety of players on the waiver wire today, including a couple from the Maple Leafs and one from the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers have placed forward Tomas Jurco on waivers. I would say more than likely he will clear, and if he does, he will end up assigned to the American Hockey League. Of course, Jurco, was drafted with a lot of potential back into the Detroit organization, showed some early promise in the first year or two, and really since then has really struggled to find consistency and has now bounced around to a few teams. He's yet to score a goal in 12 NHL contests with the Oilers this year. Looked as though he had an opportunity, of course, with Ken Holland being the GM with the Edmonton Oilers now. Of course, a player that he was very familiar with from his days with the Red Wings, gave him an opportunity, and so far it's not really working out as they were hoping he could provide some much needed secondary scoring. So we'll see if Jurco is claimed or not. We'll know at noon Eastern time tomorrow. And staying with the waiver wire, the Maple Leafs have begun putting some players on waivers, making space necessary for the returning Zach Hyman, which will likely be returning at the latest on the weekend, most likely on Saturdays. They've placed forward Nick Petan and defenseman Martin Marincin on waivers, so either of those guys could be claimed. There could be some interesting options there. I know Nick Petan is a guy who's likely going to get some attention. I would not be surprised if he is claimed. Now, of course, these two players, regardless if they're claimed or not, they'll either be buried in the minors or gone to another organization, which will free up the cap space, but it's not going to be enough. As we've discussed before, it's likely going to take about 3 players off the current roster to make enough space for Zach Hyman to return to the active roster. There's a lot of speculation on who that next player is going to be. Perhaps performances from tonight's game will dictate that as well, because they do have a game tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights, and I said likely Hyman returns to the contest on Saturday evening. So I guess we will see. There's been some talk. It could be Nick Shore, it could be Timashov, or it could be veteran Jason Spezza, who signed a 1-year veteran minimum contract, $700K, with the organization this past offseason. If Spezza is placed on waivers, there's certainly some talk about whether or not his old team, the Ottawa Senators, should put in a claim to get him back with the organization or not. Hard to say if they would, or if he'd even be a good fit there. You could make the argument that they really don't need him at this point in his career, but at the same time, regardless of what he can do on the ice, he could certainly provide a lot of leadership, especially some of their young players playing center ice like Logan Brown, Josh Norris, etc. It could be a good guy to have around the organization throughout the season. But of course, I think Spezza went home to the Maple Leafs for an opportunity to win a Stanley Cup. It was reported that he did have an opportunity to go to Ottawa, that there was some interest there to bring him back. At least that was reported in the offseason. Hard to say exactly how much truth there was to that, but either way, he chose to go to the Leafs, I think, for an opportunity at a cup, since he's nearing the end of his career and is yet to accomplish that. So we'll see who the next member of the Maple Leafs roster is to go on waivers sometime here over the next day or so. So the question I pose to you is, if Spezza is the one that ends up on waivers, should the Senators or another team put in a claim to bring him over to their organization? Let me know down in the comments and we'll continue discussing it further. Now on to some NHL injury news. There's some couple of key injuries that's going to certainly have a big impact on a few NHL clubs, including the Winnipeg Jets. Like, they haven't been through enough already. Brian Little's going to be out for an indefinite period of time after a little bit of a scary situation, getting a shot where he took the puck to the head. Little is expected to be released from hospital, but is battling a perforated eardrum and is battling vertigo, and there's really no clear timetable. Doctors are confident he'll make a full recovery, but it's hard to say exactly how long. And with the Jets already going through so much adversity already this year, that's certainly not going to help matters much more. Of course, like I said, he plays a pretty pivotal role in their top 2 of the 3 lines there. So we'll hopefully wish Brian Little a speedy recovery. It's a scary situation, but at least things are looking positive moving forward. Now, staying with injury news, the Dallas Stars, who got off to a really slow start, have been doing much better, put a string of wins together, are now going to be without John Klingberg for a period of time, likely going to be reevaluated in about 2 weeks' time. So that's going to be a big blow for the Stars. Of course, they've been on a much better run, really in their last 7 or 8 games, got things turned around, got themselves back up to around a 500 record after a really miserable start. So that's certainly not going to help matters. We'll see how they can do without their top defenseman in their lineup for at least a couple of weeks. Now, of course, it could end up being longer. I believe it was explained he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks, so it just depends on how things are going at that time. Quick update as well on the Josh HoSang situation with the New York Islanders. General Manager Lou Lamoriello was recently asked if a trade does not take place soon, if he'd be reporting to the American Hockey League to get some games in. Of course, HoSang has been training on his own, waiting for this trade to happen after he was put through waivers and demoted to the American Hockey League. He formally requested a trade, has been sitting at home training on his own ever since. I believe he's kind of shooting himself in the foot because teams are not really able to watch him play and see how he's doing and to have any interest in acquiring the young forward. At this stage of his career, Josh HoSang is certainly a little bit of a project, and it's really debatable. If any team is going to show interest, it probably would be wise for him to report to the American Hockey League and get some games under his belt so teams can actually watch him play and kind of show the fact that he should be, somebody that they should look to acquire. I mean, ultimately, he also made it known at the time of his trade that any NHL club that was willing to acquire him, that he would do whatever it took in order to get himself into a regular NHL spot, and he would even report to an American Hockey League team or go through whatever they needed him to make that happen. So if he'll play for the minor league team for another franchise, then I really think he should do so for the Islanders as well while he's waiting for that next opportunity, that trade to take place. He's only on a one-year deal. He could potentially end up being an unrestricted free agent here soon, especially if he's not tendered a qualifying offer, if he makes it through the season with the Islanders. But at this point, Lamoriello doesn't seem to know if he's actually going to end up reporting or not. We'll end up seeing the situation drag on a little bit further. That is all your latest news updates for today. Of course, as always, we'll know your thoughts and opinions and everything down in the comment section. So certainly let me know your thoughts. We'll continue the conversation down in the comment section. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future videos as well. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.